Okay, Billy's, this is the first paper I've had a chance to mark of yours. In your summer exam, you managed to score 3 out of 200 and get an E. I'm presuming then that was the higher tier, so let's see how you get on adjusting to the foundation tier. That's not a word. Okay, it's asking you to write the number in words, so you lose that mark. Right, you haven't got all of them there. You've forgotten 1, 14 and 28. So again, you only get 1 out of the 2 there because you've only got half of them right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you need to have that in the answer, so it isn't 1,000, it is 7,000. Okay, it's the thousands is the position of the column, but its value, because it's a digit 7, is 7,000. That's got a unit digit of 5. This is the tens. So what you're looking for is a 50 something prime number, and the number is either going to be 53 or 59. 14 is right. 6 out of 16 is right, but you're not going to get full marks because it's not in its simplest form. You can divide both of those numbers by 3. So 1 mark there, 1 mark there, no marks there. 5, 6, 7, 9 for that page. 12 is correct. You get 3 marks for that, but you'll get no marks for trying to explain to me how you've done that, what steps you're taking. So 3 out of 3 for the maths, 0 out of 3 for the communication. That's good. Now when you draw a frequency diagram like that, you need to label both axis. You know that what that one is, that's the sport, but this one you either need to use the word frequency or number of pupils. The mode is what has been selected most, which in this case is hockey. That's correct. So there's 4 marks for that. You'll get 3. You'll lose a mark for your labeling. 55 is correct. 45 is t times 10 plus 20, correct. 45 minus 20 is right, but then what you've got to do is, rather than work it out like that, it's going to be 25 equals t times 10. And then, to get the t on its own, you've got to undo the timesing by 10, which is dividing by 10. So t is 2.5. 8 for that question. 50 is right. Centimetre squared is wrong. Perimeter is length, so it's just centimetre. But because that question is not asking you for the units, you'll still get the full marks. 66 is right, and this time you do have to give you units, and you've got the right units for area, so you get those marks as well. Those are right. That isn't. 30% is the same as writing 30 over 100. 30 per cent for century for 100. So it's either 30 over 100 or 3 over 10. So 3 out of 4 for that. 9 for the page. That one's right. That one's right. 2 draws, 3 losses. So is that good? 6 foot is reasonable. What you then have to do is show me how many times that man fits in to the height. So you're looking there, 1 man, 2 man, half a man. 2.5 men times 6 foot equals 21 feet. Not 21, sorry, what am I on the word? 15 feet, isn't it? 12 and 3. Okay, so it's not enough just to say what you're estimating the height to be. You're then showing 1 man, half a man, 2.5 of those 6 feet. 7 for the page. Those aren't right. We will practice these angle properties of triangles in different shapes, but have a look at my video clip to see if it comes back to you. You've come from the higher tier, so you should be able to do those. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well done. Okay, what have you done here? So you're not making your workings out very clear. £48 is correct. £1.50 times 25 is what you need to do. So if you work out what that is, in order to get the answer, that's how much comes into the game by people paying. That's how much they have to pay out. So how much is left, how much profit is the difference between that answer and that answer. So your method is okay. Good. Right. When we went through this earlier this week, this is exactly the example I said people make a common mistake, and you've made it, and lots of others have. What that is saying is something divided by 5 is 10. So you have to undo a divide by 5, and the opposite of that is timesing by 5. Again, this is something we practiced this week, so it's a bit disappointing to see that you can't even attempt it. 7 for the page. You won't get any marks unless you justify it. So you need to give a reason why. The reason for this one is that 2 is a prime number and it's even. This one, if you halve 18, you get 9, so it doesn't end in a 4. She's correct, because odd times even equals even. And if you multiply by any even number, you will always get an even number. You're supposed to be dividing here by prime numbers, but your method will work if you keep going. So you've got a prime number there and a prime number there. This is going to be 3 and 5. So what you end up with is 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, which in index form is 2 to the power of 1, because there's only 1 2, 3 to the power of 1, because there's only 1 3, times 5 squared. When we did this the other week, what I was explaining was that for square numbers, the powers are always even. So this isn't square because that's odd and that's odd. Timesing by 2 would make that 2 squared. Timesing by 3 would make that 3 squared. So if I'm timesing by 2 and timesing by 3, what I'm actually multiplying by is 6. That's good. 3 for the page. Well done. That's not a good enough explanation. What you want to explain here is that for Billy, he hasn't got very many long logs. He's got 5, 10 logs bigger than 65 centimeters, whereas Tom has got 30, 40 logs bigger than 65 centimeters. So it's because the higher bars, the higher frequencies, are at the longer groups. Now what you've done here is you have converted these weights using those, but that's for 4 people, and what the question is asking you for is for 8 people. So once you've converted them, you've then got to double them. so you'll only get 2 marks for that. Take a look how I explained that one and the rest of them. Okay, they're at the end of the back end of the paper, so they are quite challenging, but you should be able to make progress with some of those if you watch me go through them. Okay then, Billy, so 9, 14, 22, 31, 38, 40, 47, 50, 51, 53. So 53 is a D. It's 8 marks off a C. Okay, so you're not very far off. If you go through that, certainly in the first half of the paper, some of those things you got wrong, you shouldn't have got wrong. So it's important now that you work to close the gap and find another 10 marks in these papers.